What's up, Shady Sports? I'm back here with another interview with the one and only Adam Smith from the Carolina Cobras. Adam, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be on here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So let's get right into it. So I got so many questions for you tonight because you have a fascinating story. So I caught on your news interview that you are a teacher in high school. And as a high school student myself, I found that really interesting. So what subject do you teach and how long have you been teaching for?
Yeah, this is my 5th year teaching high school, and I teach business, finance, and college and career prep class.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you teach and you play, and you teach in Maryland and you play in Carolina. So I mean, how is that? Like, take me through a day by day routine. That those two are 5 hours away from each other. So how do you manage that?
Yeah. So the schedule is just kind of wild right now. So at the beginning of the week, I'm teaching regular teacher day. I get out at about 2:30, 2:45, and I will go train by myself. So I'll go lift, do rehab, whatever I need to do, hit the field, do some field work, any running, conditioning that I need to do, just get any of my kinks out. Towards the end of the week, that's when I will, usually I'll take some sick days or something like that, and I'll travel down to North Carolina to get the last few practices of the week with the rest of the team and prep for the game on the weekend.
That's crazy. I mean, that must be so much to manage with teaching and lesson plans and then working out. Like, how do you figure out how to balance all that?
Luckily enough, it hasn't been too hard just because luckily I've taught those same classes the last few years, so I've kind of got my groove with what I want to teach and the lesson plans. So it's really just pulling it out of my pocket whenever I need it. Um, so luckily just being prepared as a teacher helps me be able to put a little extra focus on being a football player as well. But from the football end of things, I mean, that's what I love to do. So that to me, it's not work. That's my free time. That's my like solace. That's my time to get away. So that takes no effort. It just takes some time, of course. But that's what comes naturally to me.
So you Carolina Cobras this year, you guys are off to a hot start. One name on your team that stands out to everyone is quarterback Malik Henry, last chance you star. So I heard that you and Malik are awfully close. So talk about that relationship with Malik and how you've seen him grow into, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say Malik and I are really close. Last year he signed with us, and he originally signed to come in and back up uh, our starter, Jonathan Bain. And the day we signed Malik is when Bain broke his foot. So I knew that someone like Malik, he had a big name. A lot of people knew who he was, and a lot of people thought they really knew Malik Henry. So I thought that it would help him for him to walk into our doors and have somebody there just to like be his friend and welcome him and not send any judgment his way, but just, be a good teammate and a friend. So that's really kind of how we clicked early on. We just hung out off the field, ate together, hung out together, things like that. And we've really been doing the same thing this year as well. When I'm in town, whenever I come to practice, I go hang out at his apartment. In between meetings, I'm hanging out with him. So um, it's been fun. He's one of my really good friends. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had, and just generally a good guy. But seeing him grow from a high level quarterback outdoors to being one of, like you said, I think he's arguably the best quarterback in indoor and arena football right now. Um, it's been great, and it shows that he was the number one quarterback in the country coming out of high school. It makes sense, just because you can see how he prepares, you can see his intelligence, and his talent is undeniable. He has the talent of an NFL quarterback, and I think he belongs with those guys as well. So I think we're just lucky to have him on our end for right now.
For sure. So, I mean, Malik and you, obviously, you have a limited practice time together. Do you guys train in the off season together down in Carolina at all? Or do you guys live in like different states right now?
Yeah, so in the off season, he is for the most part he's living in LA, and I'm back and forth between North Carolina and Maryland. So anytime we can get together, we always plan to work out and whatnot. But it doesn't get to happen that much in the off season just because of our distance. But luckily, we do have the history of this whole past season. And usually, when I'm coming in during the week, I'm only missing like one practice. So I'm not missing too much. And I'm in on every meeting, doing everything that I'm supposed to do. Just usually missing like the first practice of the week.
So your wife currently is, I believe, getting a master's at the University of Maryland. So I mean, talk about how she's getting a master's. You're a teacher. How important education is to you.
Yeah, so she's actually getting her PhD. She got her master's a few years ago. So she's even more intense. So Um, yeah, it means a lot. Growing up, I didn't really care about school, about education. The only reason I was good in school is because if I didn't do well in school, I couldn't play sports. So, I mean, the first time I ever got a C on a progress report, I cried because I thought I was gonna get grounded and never be able to play football again. So, I mean, I had great grades. I tested well. I did all the things I was supposed to do, but school didn't matter. It was just a box I had to check to play sports. When I went to college, is kind of where um, practices became important, or excuse me, not practice, but learning school. It became important to me just because I started to understand that if I want to be impactful in this life, I have to actually learn things and I have to be able to grow, not just do well on the test or write a paper well, things like that. So, um, and my wife had a big impact in that way on me, is making me understand that education, growth, learning is vital. So, her going to get her PhD I think it's inspirational to me and to people around us because that's crazy. She's busier than I am. She's working multiple jobs. She's getting her PhD paid for. She's running programs. She's doing all sorts of stuff and hasn't gotten below, I think, 92 or 93 on any grade she's gotten back so far this whole year. So yeah, education is really important in our family. Just in, I wouldn't even say formal education, but just being informed as a human is just important to us.
For sure. I mean that's amazing, being able to have that balance of education and football. So to your football career, you played at Guilford College and I mean like you dominated at that level. Did you ever think of moving up to the D1 level or were you set at your college and felt like really comfortable there?
Yeah, that's a good question because honestly, I think because Guilford's a Division III school, so I think when every good high school football player goes to a Division III, their thing is I'm going to go for a year and I'm going to transfer to a Division I school. And the majority of the time, it's just not the case because the majority of the time they're just, man, you're not that guy. So I had opportunities to play at Division I schools, but it was to walk on and play receiver and to play DB. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I was a quarterback in high school. I played DB some, but I just wanted to play quarterback. So I went to a Division III school to play quarterback. And obviously it didn't turn out that I kept playing that. I was a receiver all 4 years. But after my freshman year, I was the number 2 receiver in the conference. And I was like, I don't even know how to play this position, and I'm doing well. So if I'm going to play receiver, I might as well go to a bigger school. And I thought on it for a few weeks, and what I realized was I'm not going to go anywhere and get this experience that I'm getting right now. Whereas I'm going to start every game, I'm going to be the number 1 guy. And I had a quarterback and 3 other receivers around me that were all freshmen that were either starting or getting a large amount of playing time. And I wanted to be a part of something good that turned that program around. The Guilford football program wasn't very good before we got there, and my freshman class ended up being the winningest class in history. Um, so I'm very thankful that my ego and just any selfishness didn't get the best of me and actually try to go transfer because I wouldn't take it back. at all. Those guys I got to play with, the experiences, the coaches, all of that stuff is why I am where I am today. Guilford is how my hometown and Guilford are how I got my two first arena football opportunities. So I'm glad I stuck it out, and I'm glad that I went there because it changed. Guilford changed my life.
That's really good to hear. College is essential to your path in life. And so, who was your first arena opportunity with?
It was Clayton Banner, the general manager for the Columbus Lions. I was coaching at a small college in Virginia, and I was just every day I would just send emails to CFL, AFL, any arena team. I would just send emails to guys with my film. And Clayton Banner with the Columbus Lions reached out to me. He said, "I want to invite you to this private mini camp." Ended up going. Tweaked my hamstring when I was there, and he said, "Look, go get healthy. We'll bring you in week 1." And they called me the week before training camp, and he said, "Are you ready to go?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm excited." He said, "No, I mean, I want to sign you right now for training camp," which I was expecting just to come in for the first game week because he wanted me to get healthy. And so I signed with him, went into training camp, and it was a great experience. But man, I had no idea what I was doing. Arena football is so different. So I went in, I performed fine. I just wasn't at the level of the veterans that were there. They had a really good group. And I'm glad I got to go learn from them and to see that I can compete at that level, but I've got to learn. I'm not the number one guy right now, and I got to find a way to get there. So Columbus Lions, and that was the first year of the NAL actually that I got my opportunity.
So you play with the Lions, now you play with the Cobras, and you seem to be honestly dominating this league. Sometimes it looks like it's a little too easy, and you're playing at that level where you're a combined like Taysom Hill and Danny Woodhead, I would say combined. And so you're playing all these positions. You play receiver, DB, kick return specialist. Sometimes you're at running back. Like you're at all these different positions, right? So you guys have a stacked team in Carolina. Obviously, you have Malik, you have Lance, and then you have Naquan Murray from Florida State coming in. Like, I mean, playing with those guys, you must feel like a legit outdoor team out there.
Yeah, I mean that is a cool thing about our league is we've got really good players, players that deserve to have other opportunities and deserve to be in the XFL, USFL, things like that. So just to be able to play with those guys, play against those guys, I enjoy it every week. Um, just because, I mean, one day I'm going to be done playing football, but I'm going to be able to say that I played a really high level and I got to win games and compete and do some fun things. So, I mean, on a game day, you'll see a lot of guys. They're very serious. They're hyped up. I mean, if you ever see me on a game day, I'm smiling, I'm grinning because it's fun. It's a game. It's football. So, yeah, it's just a lot of fun to be able to compete with such high level players. I mean, Naquan Murray, we just signed. I mean, dude's been in the NFL. He played at Florida State. He's a high level football player. And I mean, this Sunday I get to be on the same field as him with the same colors on. Last year I played against him, which wasn't fun, but and then you've got guys like you said, Lance, who he was a Division II guy, but got an NFL and CFL opportunity. I mean, we've got really, really good players, and we get to play against really good players. So I couldn't ask for more. It's a hell of a time to me.
For sure. I mean, I think the NAL and all of arena football, these guys are really high level football players. And honestly, like you look at leagues like the USFL, and like I sometimes think the NAL is better than the USFL, in terms of talent.
Yeah.
So you had an opportunity to do an XFL showcase workout. Um, how do you think that went? And I'm sure you're getting looks from CFL and USFL teams. So how have you been getting attention, and what are those conversations looking like?
Yeah. So the XFL workout, I had that with the DC Defenders right before the draft. I think it went pretty well, but to be honest with you, I think that I don't think they loved what they saw with me. To be honest with you, I don't think, because I think there were maybe like 20 receivers because it was a private workout, invite only. Um, and maybe there were maybe 20 receivers. I don't think they drafted one of us. And there were some good players. I was like, holy cow, there's some talent out here. But yeah, it went well. It was a cool experience. I always like being able to go compete against guys that are that good, because you get to, again, it's just an enjoyable opportunity. You get to stack yourself up a little bit. But at the end of the day, after that, I didn't really have much more communication with the XFL, which is okay. But I've spoken with a couple of USFL teams, and it's just kind of breaking that barrier of getting my foot on the field, really. So I've talked to a few, and most of the feedback is that, I mean, they've got their guys for the moment. They're going to keep me in mind. And CFL, I've been talking to a team for the past year and a half or so. The downside with the CFL is I've never been in the NFL, and usually their cutoff is like 29 and 30, and I'm 28 right now. So they're getting to the point where it's like, if they don't get me right this second, then it's not likely gonna happen for me. But that, again, it's all good either way. If that happens, that'd be phenomenal. But Carolina, playing for the Carolina Cobras is something I wanted to do for multiple years before I got the opportunity. So it's playing at home for me. Get to play with great players, play against great players. It's pro football one way or the other. So whatever happens, I'm good.
So I mean that's amazing to hear. You know, it means a lot to you, and you're not just here because you're here. You're here because you love it. And so you in the off season, I believe you train kids. I believe Malik trains kids too. Lance, I'm pretty sure trains kids as well. So do all three of you share like ideas with one another about the techniques and the skills of that go into being a personal trainer?
No, I wouldn't say as a personal trainer we don't, but we're definitely, when we're on the field, we're always just kind of spitballing at each other, talking about specifically like football training and stuff like that, just football techniques, mechanics, things like that. Um, I'll talk about it with Lance in between plays, about how we can make routes better, how we can stem stuff, that just little stuff. And Malik and I kind of share the quarterback mind, I guess, and we'll talk a lot about quarterback game. And I like to pick his mind about just the biomechanics of throwing the football and kind of what he's looking at. And so yeah, we do. It's not a formal thing, but we're talking about that stuff all the time, especially when we're on the field in the mix of it. Because I mean, we're fiends for the game of football. So when we're on the field, that's all we're talking about, all we're doing. We screw around sometimes, but I mean, it's just always about football. So yeah, we talk about it a little bit.
So for Malik, and this goes for the offense as a whole. I mean, ever since he took over, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles. I mean, that's unheard of in any level of football to have those type of stats. So you as an offense in a whole, how do you feel you guys have clicked so well? I know you have the relationship off the field with Malik and the other players, but it seems so routine. It's become, I mean, because when I watch the game personally, right, I see Malik not afraid to throw the ball in tight windows because
Yeah.
he feels really comfortable with you guys. So
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I think that what it all boils down to is our head coach, Coach Fuller. He was our offensive coordinator last year, and he was calling all those shots when Malik came in, and when me, Lane, Jalen, we were all in this offense together. So the fact that Coach Fuller was able to mold Malik into the arena quarterback that he is right now, and that we were able to be a part of it. We've really just all been in the system for a good amount of time now. So whenever Malik did step into the game, nobody had any doubt of what he was going to do. Like you said, he's very calm. He's poised. He's not afraid to throw it into the tight windows because he knows exactly what the heck he's doing. Of course, he has a great amount of talent, but at the end of the day, he is mentally very high level. So that's why you're seeing his touchdown to interception ratio is 7-0, and we're not turning the ball over. So, and that's a big goal of ours, is just protect the ball, score when we have it, put money in the bank whenever we can. So hopefully we can keep that going and protect the ball and get another win this weekend.
So you also brought in another quarterback. I believe his name is Guy Myers. Your former teammate DJ Myers actually happens to be his brother, which I just found out a couple of days ago. But so Guy is there. What role do you think he'll play in your offense?
Yeah, so I think it's to be determined. I actually train with Guy in the off season. So since maybe 2 weeks after our championship game against Albany last year, I've been training with Guy twice a week since then. So, and he was in the USFL, so he wasn't training for Arena up until here recently when he thought he might get the call. But we'll see. I mean, a guy has to learn this arena game. He knows it from watching DJ and throwing to DJ in the off season. But never playing it, it takes some time. So he's getting his first full week of practice in right now, and I have no doubt he's gonna be fine because he's smart. He works hard as hell, and his talent is through the freaking roof. His arm, just the thing that is hanging off of his shoulder is that arm is insane. So he'll do really well with whatever his role is. I know that he's ready to come in and compete. I know Malik's ready to compete as well, and also the quarterback that we had through camp and who dressed out with us this past week, Ewan Caldwell. He played in I forget what league it was last year, but out in Wyoming. He had a great camp. He can throw it. Deep balls are beautiful, and he's been a staple for us as well. So we've got three really good options at quarterback, and I mean they're only gonna help each other because they're just gonna push each other to be better, and so whoever is out there is gonna be best for the team to win.
For sure. I mean that's really good to have competition and be able to push each other to be great, and that's what you have in the receiver room at every position almost. So my final question to you is, and I want to thank you for taking the time out today. You're right now at a point in your life where you've accomplished so much. What I know you're kind of like in the moment type guy, but looking towards the future, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And what would you tell yourself 10 years ago?
Yeah. What I would tell myself 10 years ago. If I'm 10 years ago, okay. If I could talk to myself 10 years ago, I would tell myself to this is going to be more personal or more, I guess, individualized, but I would tell my 18-year-old self, find Adam Barber with Torque Performance. I grew up around him. Start training with him now. Don't wait another year and a half, 2 years. Train with him now. And I would tell myself, pay attention to what you're eating because I learned that a little too late as well. But mostly just stick to the process because you have the best coaches here at Guilford that you could possibly have. So stick to the process, embrace the moments with your teammates because they're going to be gone quick. But where do I see myself in 5 years? I'll be 33, so football will likely be over for me by that time. Maybe a couple of little kids running around. My wife will be finished up with her PhD most likely, so just settled into our fully adult life without me football. I'll still be teaching most likely. I've considered the possibility of getting back into coaching in college. We'll see if that road comes about. But yeah, just living a good old man life with no pads on my shoulders anymore.
I mean, I personally, I think you still have another 10 years left in the tank, but I'm hoping, we see you out there for longer.
Yeah, I hope so.
But no, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on, and I look forward to see what you do against Orlando coming up here. You got a big time matchup, against the new Orlando team. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I hope to see more Ironman Player of the Weeks coming up here soon. So
I hope so. That would, if that's the case, I think that means we win. So I'll take it.
Yes, sir. So thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the news that you're bringing to arena football because not everybody knows about it, and we love it.
Appreciate that.